Since its founding, Colourpop has seen great sales, but in recent years, the public's view of the company has changed somewhat. We believe it may be redeemable, but how did this happen to such a beloved business, and how did it start so beloved? Although Colourpop was introduced in 2014, their journey didn't exactly begin then. It began with a man by the name of Walter Spatz, who became well known in the cosmetics industry after he established Spatz Lab in 1955. Spatz Lab would go on to dominate cosmetic manufacturing innovations thanks to its numerous technical innovations, which led to licenses with some of the biggest cosmetic brands throughout the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s. By the 1990s, the lab had gained such a reputation that it attracted the attention of Joel Nelson, an aerospace engineer searching for a firm to invest in. However, his decision to purchase the lab in 1989 brought about a significant change in the cosmetics sector. These modest labs and companies, despite their fame, weren't the well-known moneymakers that they were today, because the sector was formerly dominated by brands like Revlon, Coty, and L'Oreal. When it comes to purchasing Spatz Lab for the pure aim of profit, Joel Nelson was one of the first, or the first to see cosmetics in this novel light. The Nelson family, however, had no prior experience in the cosmetics industry, so they made no changes to the lab's operations and maintained the company's previous business model, which, to be fair, was still profitable even though John Nelson had hoped for a much larger profit. However, two of his children, Laura and John, believed that the company had more potential than their father's method of running the lab, and they sought to change the company's course. They observed that the company's logistics were rather complicated, but Laura and John saw an opportunity in creating a much more streamlined production line for their line of consumer items. So, in February 2014, they launched a business called Seed Beauty as a brand incubator for Mentor Foster's new head of consumer brands. This was a novel concept at the time for the cosmetics industry. Yet, even with a small number of direct rivals, Colourpop faced fierce rivalry. Being that they owned the factory, they had wonderful vertical integration that would allow them a turnaround of weeks instead of the usual months that it would take to launch a product for other companies. Over the years, since the very beginning of Spatz Labs 60 years ago, even before the Nelson family had taken over, they had slowly been evolving to become more and more vertically integrated. With the decision to go from business to business to consumer, together with the idea of seed to manufacture their products under Colourpop, they were also able to eliminate the client portion of the supply chain. As the retail outlet should now be conducted online and handled internally, they further consolidated the distribution, which was originally only intended to be done via postal service. So, as you can see from this incredibly condensed graphic, they own at least a sizable portion of their supply chain. The capacity to promptly deliver new product colors or revisions to already existing items that clients desired when they desired them at a very competitive price point without compromising the makeup's quality. They stood out in a field where it was more typical at the time to plan products and what the market would demand months in advance. After founding Seed UT in March 2014, Laura and John were able to introduce the globe to their brand, Colourpop, in just 12 weeks. They were fully aware that it would fail, and they were ready for them to consider it a sacrifice brand made in the name of trying something new and improving. Effectively, they expected Colourpop to take the fall so the other brands that they were incubating ready for future launches could thrive. But following their success with their initial 31 shades of eyeshadows available at launch, and then the subsequent high volume of shades released, after their expectation of failure was put to rest, and after only 9 months they managed to break even, but this success was understandable and could largely be attributed to their supply chain. Even at one point, the Nelson family said that they could take a product from concept to consumer in just 5 days with their resources. After the introduction of other celebrity brands with higher price points, Colourpop decided to use this as an opportunity to slightly rebrand itself once more through influencer marketing, currently utilized in a manner comparable to the celebrity brands that Seed Beauty also held. The cosmetics industry was evolving to increase the appeal of celebrity-driven brands. Even though we're still sort of in this period right now, Colourpop wanted to anticipate it. They achieved this by working with YouTubers who are now granted full collaborations in addition to receiving free products, since these individuals would best represent their accessible offering. This was a fairly new trend in the makeup scene, at the time having only started in 2011 with Max Blogger's obsession, but then really only got popular around 2016. So, in the evolving retail environment, this helped keep the brand popular and relevant. One of the most renowned businesses in the beauty industry, everything Colourpop did with its brand was going in the correct path. But their first scandal would occur in 2016. Although the sculpting sticks from Colourpop were of excellent quality, they were just released. They caused a great deal of debate since the darker shades of the sticks had names like Yikes and Typo, but the lighter shades had names like Castle and Gummy Bear, which were more subdued and sweet. Moyui Epi is a rising star. A beauty blogger at the time was so incensed by this situation that she wrote a lengthy open letter to the Colourpop executives to air her frustrations on the website of Affinity magazine. On Twitter, YouTube, and other social media, individuals started canceling Colourpop subscriptions in droves as a result of this scandal, though I was unable to locate their annual report to determine the exact impact on sales. This reaction was felt widely. So despite their speedy response, I anticipated it to have had a very large impact. As soon as John and Laura realized that they had messed up, they decided to publicly apologize as a brand. After receiving this criticism, they responded by renaming the sticks to names like Bloom and Platonic, which were well liked by customers. They then recovered and struck a significant contract with Sephora to become one of their first accessible products in stores and online, adding value to the Colourpop brand. In 2021, they had an annual revenue of close to $60 million. However, this newly revived exposure didn't come without the amplification of several already existing issues. Firstly, people started noticing that the quality of Colourpop products declined, while their collaborations with creators or brands were becoming increasingly frequent, making the public and their core audience frustrated that they couldn't keep up with new releases and seeded the thought that they'd started neglecting the quality of their product, instead paying all of their attention towards marketing, because that's what got them the most sales in 2020. However, this also came with the criticism summed up by too much mouth here on YouTube that when a company does start to release product after product, they become forgettable and no longer have the longevity of more slowly paced yet more highly anticipated reported on and loved products. The Colourpop Me Black hashtag on Instagram and TikTok was created as a result of frustration over the fact that most of the people that Colourpop chose to share or reshare on their pages were white young women. This is another very important point that she makes in this video. Colourpop was forced to pay attention after a large number of queer people of color and makeup enthusiasts of color joined the Colourpop Me Black hashtag. In reality, we believe the brand avoided serious trouble because there were so many people willing to tell them this in a polite and understanding manner. They could have seen a lot more negative backlash for this. Colourpop does need to make sure that its online presence is expanding, thus working with top creators and launching new items is vital. But it is obvious that their customer is frustrated by this and the fact that due to the quantity of products, shades have also cost them part of their reputation, as many new goods appear to be repeated. This was then exacerbated in 2022 by the sixth common complaint, which was brought on by the fact that Colourpop had previously boasted about their fast fashion approach to the beauty industry, while rival brands began producing refillable and biodegradable packaging for their products for greener alternatives. Thank you for watching this. For more content, like and share our channel for more information.